Governor Rochas Okorocha of Imo State has stirred a very serious controversy over his appointment of aides to work with him. Apart from commissioners, the governor has appointed over 50 aides ranging from senior special assistants, special advisors, development committee, etc. Now, besides the number of these appointments, what is also controversial about the whole issue is some of the appointments. For instance, there is the position of chief comedian of the state, essay on Igbo affairs, essay on Lagos affairs, essay on legal affairs of the First Lady, essay special duties, First Lady, essay events, First Lady, essay admin, First Lady. The list seems endless. The question is, are all these appointments necessary? And how does the governor intend to pay all of them? To answer these and some other questions, I'm now being joined on the program by the Governor's Senior Special Assistant on Media, Mr. Chinedu Ofo. Mr. Ofo, thank you very much for coming on the program. You are the Senior Special Assistant Media, and I guess there were a number of people too working on that, because I know there's also the position of Special Assistant Documentary, Essay Documentary and Production.
That's correct.
There's also Essay Print Media.
That's correct.
There's also Essay Electronic Media. So
no, there's no essay.
No essay electronic media. Okay, but you have print, documentary, production, and all of that. I mean, quite surprising. One would have thought you should be able, all that should have been able to come under your portfolio.
Well, thank you very much.
Go on.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I beg to disagree that they are controversial. They're certainly not controversial in Imo, in Owerri. But also, they are all under me, the essay production and also essay print. You'll have to understand that the job of a senior special assistant covers not just the governor in Owerri. You also have thousands of Imolites abroad, for instance, in diaspora, spread all over the world.
Of course, you
also have to worry about his
diaspora as well.
You also have to worry about his external image. You also have to worry about his internal image.
But do you have to make this huge number of appointments to be able to address all of this? I mean, it's something we haven't seen in a long while. You know, it's quite surprising. How, for instance, do you justify, the appointment of say essay admin, First Lady, essay legal affairs, First Lady? You also have essay domestic, essay events, First Lady as well.
Yeah, let me explain certain things that you and possibly a lot of people don't understand. You are dealing with something new. You are dealing with a different administration. You are dealing with a different policy. For instance, you find that commissioners sit in their offices. They're administrative. They have some work to do. They implement policies or initiate one. Now you have to have foot soldiers who do the work in the local communities. We're talking of a government that is centered.
And then you have civil servants. What do you expect these civil servants to do if you have all of this?
When you say civil servants, are you saying like the cleaners and office staff?
I'm talking about you have permanent secretaries.
Yeah, let me explain that.
Yeah.
You have a government that is in the local government centered. It's from the bottom up. Most governments run from the top to the bottom. The local governments are not developed. So we need as many people as possible to go to the local governments to develop them.
Now, the issue of the local government, I mean, we're still going to come to that. Let us just look at, leave the issue of local government, because I know you have development committees for the various local government areas. For instance, for the position of senior special assistants, now you have 15 senior special assistants, 15. And then you have special assistants. You have, let me see the number now, 32 of them.
That's correct. But you recall that the so-called controversy started when people alleged that the governor appointed over 200 staff or 150. Yeah, and that is not close.
But when we look at this now, I mean, it comes up to about 100 and something.
And that is not correct.
Well, that is, if you do not consider, for instance, because the governor, for instance, created what he called mayorals. So you have, for all the local government area, you have the Owerri Development Zone Committee. That's when you talk about mayoral affairs. Now you have the Olu as Development Zone Committee, and then Okigwe, and then you have 7 persons working in each of these committees. You don't consider those ones as appointments?
Those are not appointments.
What are they?
Let me explain.
They don't get paid?
No, they don't get paid. They're not on payroll. They don't receive government cars. Okay. They're not lodged on the government funds.
So they're just there. It's a voluntary service.
Yes. Imo State is operating what you can call a volunteer government. There are people who donate books There are people who donate
So
money.
you're telling me, for instance, that for Olu Development Zone Committee, somebody like Ichiem Banaso Uche, who is also the SSA Olu Mayoral Affairs, does not get paid?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to develop the rural areas, there are people, for instance, the committees, who tell His Excellency, we want to work, we want to do something. What do we do?
I'm quite surprising. You also have local government chairmen. So what are the local?
No, you don't have local government chairmen.
Yeah, well, you have local government. So what's the role of the local government chairman?
You recall the local government, it was dissolved.
Okay,
you recall that.
Yeah. And you do not have caretaker committee?
They just appointed caretaker committees
okay, so
2 days ago.
Yeah, you have these caretaker committee chairmen, and then you have the committees. You have these various committees.
No, if you let me explain, maybe you understand what I'm trying to say.
Right, I'm listening.
The local governments as they are the center point of development for this administration. And they've been long neglected. You go to local governments, there's nothing, absolutely nothing happening in the local governments. Now, what would a government that wants to develop the local governments, what do you think that government would do? His Excellency, Rochas Anayoko Rochas said to himself and to everybody, even when he was campaigning, I'm going to make the people the focal point of this administration. And most of the people live in rural areas. And how do you develop the rural areas? You develop the rural areas with the people who live in the rural areas. You need foot soldiers, not civil servants who stay and push fines.
It's just like a waste of time having the caretaker committee chairman.
No.
Because apart from
do you know
what do they do?
Do you know it's statutory? Local government is the third tier of government.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because it's statutory, and now you're having these various committees. You're just extending and expanding.
No. You are developing a state without spending so much money. For instance, let me give you an example. A lot of governments would appoint contractors. They would appoint consultants. They would give contracts. And this is huge money. But you set up committees running voluntarily.
All right.
Bringing stuff to their local governments, developing their rural areas without the government having to pay for that.
Okay.
So it's a new...
There are quite a number of appointments, you know, that I would want to say quite controversial and quite novel, so to speak, because we've never had it before. For instance, tell us about this issue of having the chief comedian of the state. What is the rationale behind that appointment?
Now, let me explain that to you. Prior to now, comedians are seen as people who just make people laugh. Nobody takes them seriously.
Right.
The government of Rochester Courage is about lifting people. Now, if you're a little guy in the village and you are aspiring to be a comedian, and eventually you find the governor appointing a comedian to such height, what would you think? You'll say, there's really something in this. So it's not about the physical things you can see, it's about changing the psyche of the people.
Really?
That everybody is important.
So there is the office of the chief comedian of the state.
There is an office of the chief comedian of the state.
All right, I mean, you have SSA Abuja Liaison Office, SSA Lagos Liaison Office, and then you have a special advisor on Lagos affairs as well. How do you justify that? Nkiru Sylvanus, for instance.
She's not an advisor.
Okay.
She's not an advisor.
What is she?
She is SSA Lagos Affairs. Is not an advisor.
Yeah,
now
and
Abuja.
Then you have Lagos. You also have someone who coordinates the Lagos Liaison Office. What would she be expected to do as SSA?
Now let me just give you an analogy. You have a minister. You have a PAMSEC. You understand? They work. They do the same thing, but they do different duties.
Yeah,
no, I'm not saying. No, I'm not saying she. Let me explain.
All right.
For instance, Abuja. Do you know Imo State as we speak? Lots of property in Abuja, and the governor wants to develop, for instance, some of the buildings.
What is the liaison officer doing in Abuja?
Let me explain. In Abuja, a liaison officer runs the administrative part of it.
Okay.
But the SA has a specific duty. For instance, that's what I'm trying to explain.
That's the SA. You also have the SSA as well.
No. You don't have all that. People are just throwing names about banning.
Anyway,
let me explain what the Abuja.
Yeah.
Imo State, for instance, we have an office complex. They're also building another one, for instance, that would house the staff when they go in there. So the government will not have to pay so much. And if that office is finished, banks will move in. All kinds of business will move in, bringing money to the state. It takes a full-time person to go out and do it. If you put that along with the duties of somebody who runs the administrative arm of that liaison office, nothing gets done. So the government is running
same
thing Lagos. The government runs.
So the government Sylvanus will be required to be doing this job full time. She's a
full time.
Yeah.
This government is running what they call a task force. All these people are like task forces. Right. There's a problem. There is a need. The government dispatches them. They do that job. They move on. The government is in a hurry to develop Imo State.
Okay. You also have the SA Government House Chaplain. The Government House Chaplain, he has an SA.
Yeah. Do you know the governor is a very spiritual man?
Okay. Tell me.
And his chaplain has been with him for about 15 years.
Okay, so that chaplain too has
and that
an
chaplain, no, the chaplain is not an essay. You know, the people are
the
just...
The chaplain has an essay.
No.
Government House chaplain.
No.
Okay.
No. Are you saying the chaplain has an essay? That's not correct.
No. Well, Pastor Bumi Babs.
He does not have an essay. Are you saying he is an essay or he has an essay?
Is he an essay?
Yes.
He's an essay.
He's a chaplain. He's the private chaplain of the governor.
So he's a private chaplain of the governor. He's also an essay.
Yes.
He's also a special assistant.
No.
He's a private, of course. I mean,
no, he's a chaplain. You know.
Okay, he's a special
let me
advisor.
tell you. No, he's not a special advisor. You don't confuse the names. Special advisors are different. He's a chaplain, private chaplain of His Excellency the Governor of Imo State. Just like every other governor, presidents have people they consider.
He's a private chaplain.
Yes.
He's not an essay.
He's not.
Because he says SA Government House Chaplain.
You see, let me explain some of these essays people are talking about. When people are appointed even in committees, people just assume they're essays because they think if you're an essay or people.
When you published, I mean, you describe them as essays, for instance, when you published.
But also some of the committees are also described as essay this, essay that, but they are not. What I'm trying to tell you is, people mistakenly believe that when you give somebody an essay, it means you're entitled to so much. Government money, payroll, cars, but that's not true because most of the, for instance, the committees, they don't get paid anything. They just get paid allowances.
But
so
for people like you get cars, you get all the perks of office, of course.
No, not cars.
Senior special assistant.
I don't have cars.
No, okay, a car. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you see now, people like you. No, I wasn't just talking about you alone. I mean, people like you, those of you who are special. I mean, senior special assistant.
No.
But anyway, that is just by the way. There are quite a number of appointments. Though I just want you. SA Events, First Lady.
SA Events.
There's SA Events, First Lady. Then SA Legal Affairs, First Lady. Quite, and then SA Igbo Affairs.
Okay? Let's talk about the SA Igbo Affairs. Do you know that the Igbo language is virtually fading away? It's virtually dying.
In Imo State.
Not in Imo State, everywhere else, all over the world. Okay. You know why?
So what
parents don't even speak Igbo to their kids. And that language is dying. So His Excellency wants to bring that back. Do you know he has ordered traditional rulers not to speak English at private events? You have to speak Igbo because you're a traditional ruler. And you have to carry all the paraphernalia.
So you need an essay to ensure that people speak Igbo.
If you don't have an essay and you just have like a civil servant or let's say a PAMSEC, is it not the same thing?
What I'm saying is, do you really need an essay? Do you really need to create an office, for instance, that will ensure that people speak the language? When
you say create an office, you're giving this picture that somebody sits in an office with all the paraphernalia of office with assistants. It's not like that.
What is? All of those people do not have offices.
They don't.
They just exist. Like
no,
that,
they don't.
Just by name.
No, they don't. No. You're just putting words in my mouth. They just don't exist. They don't exist. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a job to be done. And you appoint talented people to do that job. If your name you give them is SA, BA, or that, it doesn't matter. What matters is you have a specific job to do, you have a target to meet. His Excellency has given everybody 3 months to reach your target. And if you don't achieve that, then he's going to review. He's going to review your appointment. But besides that, you haven't even asked what kind of government he's running. He's not running your conventional government. You are looking at him from the prism.
There's no question at all, because this has never happened before. There's no question at all that there's not conventional government.
Other governments, by comparison, how many assistants? Or they call them assistants. They may not call them essays. How many assistants do they have?
Well, essays, by the way, are special assistants anyway.
No, that's what I'm saying. Other governors might call them anything else.
That SA Legal Affairs First Lady, SA Events First Lady. And the governor also has his own SA Legal Affairs as well. And the SA Legal Affairs First Lady and SA Events, what exactly do they do? First Lady.
Don't you think the First Lady deserves legal advice in terms of certain things you do?
Yeah,
it tells of a careful person. It tells of somebody who believes in the rule of law. It tells about somebody who will not do anything without making sure it's lawful. Understand?
So SA events.
SA events.
First lady.
Do governments have events? Do first ladies have events? Do they have events?
No, what I'm saying, do you really need to create a special office
who
for
would
all
do
of this?
No, who would do it? You think you just get...
What exactly does the protocol department anyway, what do they do?
What the protocol department?
Yeah, exactly.
Protocol departments, they set up the governor's timetable, they receive visitors.
And they can arrange for the first lady as well. You have to have SA...
No. For instance, if the governor has an event or has visitors, and the first lady has an event and they have visitors, are you going to use the same protocol people to do the job if they are timed at the same time? But what people don't understand is what is the revolution that is going on in Imo State as we speak. People don't understand that. And from the way you are asking the questions, you probably don't have private to some of the information that's available. This is a government and a governor that is the first governor in Nigeria who is working for free. He has forfeited his 4-year salary. He has cut down the security vote from 6.5 billion to 2.5 billion. He has paid 2 months arrears owed by previous government. He has cleared 12 years of patience.
I have to thank you very much for coming. I just hope you're not biting more than you could chew.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm delighted.
The government of
No, we're not. We're equal to the challenge, and he will deliver. He has promised to deliver, and I invite you to come to Owerri and see how much he's done within 2 months.
We're going to come after 2 years.
No, come in 3 months or come in 4 months. You'll be surprised.
I just want to give you that time so that you'd have performed so well.
No.
2 years?
Come in 3 months. Okay. Come in 4 months.
I'll make it 6
Come
months.
right now.
I'll make it 6 months. Thank you very much.
Come right now. You see what is going on.
Mr. Chinedu, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And we wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
That's it on the program tonight. We want to thank you very much for watching. I am Deji Badimasi. We're back again next week. Good night.